Hello, this is Alex Spencer, Self-Realised. I just wanted to talk about one of the biggest things that's assisted me on my journey, and that's when I started to work out what was going on in my mind and trying to come to the bottom of emotional issues, and which can be like I've always said, like amplified when you're going through this journey, or like when you're experiencing certain things at such a dramatic rate. It's like your life's falling apart, and it builds back up again, then it falls apart again. And I was almost bullied into a corner of like, I've got to get on I've got to get onto the top of this. And my biggest thing that's helped me all that way, I think, from the start, when I first was introduced to, say, spiritual literature and a spiritual way of thinking, potentially, was associated more with the observer of mind. I'll try and explain a little bit more about what that is. And I'm sure if you've studied Eastern philosophy, that you know about the observer. And it's not it doesn't really go into much detail about what the observer is or who the observer is. That could lead to a whole another discussion. But it's what my belief of the observer is. I believe that the observer is you, is the real you, or is closer to the real you than what you are witnessing. When it comes to mind activities, for the emotions to be triggered, you have to experience what you're seeing. Let's say if you get visual or audio commands which trigger off like anger, what you've seen or listened to is affecting you, the experiencer, because you're now feeling those emotions. And it's associated more with that. It's associating the fact of when you're listening to your internal dialogue and like detaching yourself from it, and almost, let's say, if your mind's completely not out of control, but if it's sort of, say, quite erratic and it's like quite fast paced, you can almost take a step back and look at it and think, wow, that is fast paced. Or the observer, let's say if you've got angry internal dialogue, it's the experiencer says, oh, that's quite angry. And I think it's the more I started to tut and roll my eyes at how obscure the mind works, and how basically all it is ways of trying to get your attention, get the observer's attention. And it stops at no lengths, the barrage of entertainment that's put up in front of you. Even when you sit down and try not to think, it'll start, even if you've got nothing to say, it'll just make up a song. Skibbity boo bop 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 ba dang a dang, doo ba doo ba doo ba bop bop wop ba dam ba dam, wop bop bop ba dam 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 bam bam bam. And it's like, and you're still the experience of listening to that. And whatever you want to call what it is you're experiencing, whether it's like the ego, the animal brain, all it is it's basically, on a profound level, it's its need to survive. And it thinks if it doesn't go skibbity bee bop bang da ba bang, it's gonna not exist anymore. So that's why it goes at crazy lengths to try and keep your attention. I hope I'm sort of making sense. But from an advancement point for me, when I really started to notice, just with how I feel about how I was how I reacted to the world would be minimised greatly. Because if I had an angry thought, I'd think, I'd be the turning and rolling of my eyes. I'd be like, oh, not again. And when you start to think like that, you really look at how insignificant you can overreact to stuff. Like even little things, but let's say the person who serves you doesn't serve you the right way, or you have belief systems that make that up. And you can look at it and think, God, I think now, I can't believe I used to think like that. But I obviously don't get down about it. I just think it was where I was at the time, and the human error that I was incurring at the time. And we still have human error. It's just a case of how it's minimised down. And I believe the more minimised down it is, your human error or the human condition, the more peace of mind you get. That's the byproduct. Peace of mind is the byproduct of you working this out. And that's what I feel like I've got. I'd say my mind was completely out of control. It was angry, resentful, to the point where I had like attention deficit disorder. I was so angry internally that I could barely listen to anyone talk or hold a conversation. I think that's how bad it was, yeah. But as soon as I was given just a bit of knowledge about this observer part of me, it felt more like me. I felt easier to associate with the observer, because I believe it's just my belief that associating with the believer is getting closer to who you truly are. Whether that is the real you or whether there's more layers to go down to, but it felt closer. I think the best way I could put it is it felt closer to home. I think that's the best way I can think of it, really. It just felt much closer to home. And we all know that home's a nice place to be. But the real home, like the home of who you truly are. And I think it completely it's transformational. I believe this way, like the ups and downs that you occur in life, the more you look at your internal dialogue and the more you see how the internal conflicts work, and how more you disassociate with them, the more you pay less attention to your mind, the more it calms down. There's a great philosopher called Alan Watts, and he compares it to like a muddy, churned up pool. That if left alone, it will settle down itself. And I think that's the tricky thing. It's not diving into the entertainment. And having more of I think it helps as well to to take things less seriously. I know life is serious and everything. We do have to take life serious, but I think internally, taking things with a pinch of salt and almost like, I'm thinking like that again, or how, or seeing the pomposity of it. I think that's a word, but just the whole, how it can all be all blown out of proportion. But I think that's a great place for someone to start, especially if someone is like if you are suffering from chronic anxiety, which I suffered for years and years to quite a severe degree. It can resolve all of that once you associate more with the observer, and when you do, you'll know what I mean. It's more of a case of I feel more at home over here. I think that's the best way to put it. So I think that's really cool. I think I'm going to sort of leave that there, but that would be my number one, like I say, my number one tip for anyone who's trying to figure out who they truly are, or like that sounds a bit too much, but trying to figure their mind out, or trying to work out, or you know something's not right about you. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you know something's not right. And if you're aware that your mind is fast-paced, or maybe you're not, but if you're feeling just off-centre, then this is a real cool place to start. Being the observer part of you. The observer is the person that tucks and rolls his eyes and, what did he just say again? But I hope this has been of some use. This is a great place to start, like I say. The observer part of you, it feels more, for me, from what I've experienced, it feels closer to you, which is just a cool place to be. So, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for your time. This is Alex Spence, Self-Realised, and I hope you're having a fantastic day.